Hey all, this is going to be the last of the videos that I record about the post-election aftermath. And as I said, I this isn't normally my shtick, but for reasons unknown, I guess because it was over, and I wanted to just sort of get a handle on it and understand some things about it. Plus, to be honest, I wanted to engage in a bit of Schadenfreude at all of the disappointed people in the media, the wonderful, the wonderful people in the media and in the entertainment industry and elsewhere. These high-profile people who think they're better than you and me, and who hate us all, despise us, and think that we're scum. Watching them, watching their candidate go down in flames, and watching their reaction to it all. I'll admit that I took some pleasure in their pain. But another part of it was that I was interested in just what was going on, and how it all fell out and all that. And I've discussed this in the prior two, I think it's the last two videos on this subject that I've recorded. But here I'm going to turn it around a little bit, because I have a long memory, and I remember a time when the alt-right was a thing, and I remember being a part of it, being part of the alt-right, which has forever dominated my destiny ever since, because for better or for worse, mostly for worse, my affiliation with the alt-right has affected my life. I have no regrets about that affiliation, by the way. I should hasten to add that. But it has very much, it's been something. It's been seen in one way, could be seen as an albatross around my neck. I don't see it that way, but I guess there's a way in which one could see it that way, because you are obviously cut off from much of polite society when you have that albatross around your neck, when you have records of affiliations, and so forth. Now, I was always I was called contrarian a lot. I was maybe the contrarian of the alt-right, if I may be so bold, because a lot of the times I was questioning the conventional wisdom, especially once the alt-right became this thing that was mostly dominated by internet shit posters and Pepe memes and the Daily Showa and their crew and everything, where it became this glib sort of trollish kind of thing. There got to be this mentality that took hold, and this way of seeing things that was more or less expected of everybody. And I wasn't willing to sign off on all of these ideas that they were putting forth. And this is stuff I've talked about before. This is stuff I've written about before. But I want to talk about something specific here with regard to electoral politics. Now, it was said, it was sort of the conventional wisdom of people who were in the alt-right and who had some kind of investment in politics. They had the following reading of the Republican Party. For the most part, of course, there were those who just despised the Republican Party and wanted to replace the Republican Party, like Richard Spencer, uh, who just saw them as a rival to himself and to the dreams that he had of conquering the nation and tomorrow the world. But those who talked about the Republicans would here's what they would put forth a lot, and this is something that I think maybe the last election has should be seen as challenging these notions just a bit. What they would say is the Republicans always try to, they're the stupid party, like what's his name said, it's the evil party, and the Democrats are the evil party, the Republicans are the stupid party. I can't remember the name of the person who said that, but he was somebody who was sort of a pre-alt-right sort of person, somebody who was affiliated with Pat Buchanan, an early white nationalist type, somebody who would show up at the American Renaissance conventions a lot, and I went to a lot of those in the aughts and into the teens. I attended quite a few of those myself. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Still getting over this cold. So what he and others would say is, if the Republicans would just craft their appeal, focus exclusively on white America, if they would focus exclusively on the needs and the grievances of white America, they would do a lot better. Because that's the true path to victory. If they did that, they would see that whites would see this is the party that's on my side, and they would flock to this to vote Republican. Obviously not the white liberals. I don't think they ever claimed that they would win over the white liberals, but they said if you made an explicit appeal to white America, whites who were struggling in America, and so there was a bit of a populist idea there, but it was an exclusively racially nationalist idea. There was always this. We're not civic nationalists here. We're racial nationalists. We're not civic nationalists. The civic nationalists, that's the alt-light. We're alt-right. And so we're interested in a white America, make America white again. And so they said, we need to just appeal to white people. Or if the Republican Party or some other party that if another conservative leaning party managed to take the place of the Republican Party, and a winning strategy for them would be to try to appeal to whites exclusively, and not just to do this foolish like reaching out across the aisle to say, hey, other folks, non-white folks, we like you too, and we want your votes too, and we're not gonna we want the best for you too. No, they would say, the alt-right commentators, and there were more than a few who just echoed this idea that we've got to just it should just be all about appealing to whites. That's the winning strategy, is appealing to whites. Well, the latest election, the latest presidential election, Donald Trump, who was seen in 2016 as by many as a racist white candidate. He was seen approvingly as a racist white candidate by the likes of David Duke and others, but mostly he was seen disapprovingly as a racist white candidate by liberals, and of course they had fits over it, and but that was how they framed him. They framed that was how Donald Trump was framed. He was framed as, essentially someone who was, quote, dog whistling white nationalism. He wasn't explicitly advocating white nationalism, but he was dog whistling it. All right. I hate that word, dog whistling. It's one of those words that I hear a lot that I just always sets my teeth on edge. Anyway, that was the idea with Trump, especially in the first time around in 2016. Even then, though, even in 2016, I think Trump did better than most Republicans candidates have ever done with non-whites. And black men, I think, voted for him much more than they did people like Mitt Romney or George W. Bush or whatever. I think he did better with black men than any Republican presidential candidate since Reagan. So that was something that was something that was discussed a little bit, but mostly in 2016 it was just thought of as, this is like Van Jones said, this is a whitelash. It's a whitelash. Instead of a backlash or a blacklash, it was a whitelash. It still makes me laugh to think about that. The coining of that term, whitelash. It's almost like buck breaking. It's got that same kind of flavor to it somehow. But anyway, this time around in 2024, Trump did incredibly well with non-whites. Incredibly well, to the point where even I was out there looking at these watching these shows, election night coverage shows where they had compilations of what they were saying at different times on these different networks, and how it just got they were optimistic at first, and then as the evening wore on, things just got quiet as a tomb in the newsroom, and then somebody would go off on this is just so surreal that this is happening, that this man who was twice impeached and who's a convicted felon and who tried to start an insurrection against the American government is going to be the president. And but anyway, these people all had to admit, once they looked at exit polls, that Trump was not exclusively a white candidate. That he did do well among white men, and he got the majority of white women, the white women vote, just barely, but he got it. But he also got the majority of, according to exit polls, got the majority of the Hispanic male vote, and he did pretty well with Hispanic female vote. Not the majority, but did pretty well. But he won. But according to exit polls, more Hispanics voted for Trump than voted for Harris or voted for somebody else. And among black men, his total, was even higher. Now, it's, of course, he still. It was, the large majority of the black vote still went against him, especially the black female vote. But but he improved significantly, and I think, improved significantly over his numbers from the last two elections that he's been involved in. And other non-whites also, non-white groups also, voted in numbers larger than usual, much larger than usual, voted for Trump, much larger than Republicans, than these non-white voters had ever gone for Republicans before. All right, so now, taking all of this into account, I would like to go back to these alt-right prognosticators, these people who were saying, stop trying to appeal to non-white voters. They're never going to vote for you. Blacks are never going to vote for you. Hispanics are never going to vote for you. Instead, try to enhance your appeal among your base, which is white people. The white vote. Try to get out even more of the white vote instead of trying to reach across the aisle to these other people. Well, I don't know how much reaching across the aisle there was. There probably was some. I didn't follow the campaign that closely, and maybe this is something that's just exclusively happening with Trump. Maybe it's going to be, but I don't know. But it's a trend that nobody was expecting. But I'm asking, what do these results say about those who those on the alt-right who are always just banging on about, it's got to be about white people. We got to just, the focus has got to be on getting out the white vote. No other vote matters. Let the non-white vote, leave them alone. Don't try to appeal to them because it's just fruitless. Well, that wasn't the case here. So, I don't know. Are we in a situation where maybe, maybe it's maybe some of y'all were wrong in making drawing those conclusions, making those predictions that blacks would never vote Republican, that Hispanics would never vote Republican. I don't know. What do y'all think?